My name is Lex and I am from New Baptist Church. So today I am looking at Genesis 39. So in Genesis 39 we start with Joseph, and he's just been sold into slavery by his older brothers because he was too annoying. And he got sold, he went to Egypt, and he got sold to a guy named Potiphar. Potiphar was a rich guy, and Joseph, everything he did basically succeeded. So Potiphar put Joseph in charge of his entire household, and that's basically it. He put him in charge of his entire household. So really, everything was going great. He had a great job for a slave. He was well looked after and cared for. He cared and looked after all the other people in Potiphar's household. But there was one big problem, and that was Potiphar's wife. Potiphar's wife came multiple times and was like, "Hey, will you sleep with me?" And Joseph, being a good man, says, "No, that's a terrible idea, because nothing has gone wrong because of me for my master Potiphar, and I'm not about to mess that up just willy-nilly. Besides, it would also be very, very wrong in God's eyes, and I'm not going to do that." So she pesters him and pesters him and pesters him and pesters him, and big surprise, he says no. Again and again and again and again. But one day, she comes and asks him if he would lay with her. Right, that's how it goes. And then he says no. And then she grabs his cloak and rips it off of him. And then he's scared, so then he goes and runs away. And then, when Potiphar comes home, she tells her husband that Joseph tried to sleep with her. The Hebrew slaves tried to sleep with me. And then Potiphar's anger is kindled. That's what it says in the Bible. So like when somebody's like super mad, that's kind of what it means. So Joseph was sold. No, he was not sold. He was not sold to a prison. He was put in a prison, because that's how prisons work. And there, the jailer puts him in charge of several different things in the prison, and everything goes well for him. So that's a rough summary of Genesis chapter 39. And one thing that really stands out to me in this is how Joseph keeps his integrity, and he's committed to obeying God's laws, and he's also committed to not bring any trouble to his master's house. So I don't know. I think those are very admirable qualities, and I think that kind of was what made Joseph so special, and gave him such good standing with God that he would bless pretty much every endeavor that Joseph went on to do, or any misfortune that befell him would also turn into good stuff. Later, you probably know what happens. So, spoiler alert, he becomes the second most powerful person in all of Egypt, and that was mainly because he went to prison in the first place. So, yeah, I just think it's a great example of how having integrity and honor ends up working out usually fairly well most of the time. God blesses the just, and he also despises the wicked and the proud. It says many times all throughout the Bible. So I just think this is a great example of somebody in the Bible actually showing it and living their life like this. So it's not like it's some unattainable standard. Joseph could do it, you can do it too. So, yeah, I would encourage you to read it for yourselves. And I'm going to close in prayer now. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you that we're all alive. Thank you for Joseph, and that through him you give us an example of how even when it's difficult, we can still remain faithful and still have integrity and honor throughout it. I pray especially for George Floyd and that the people who have murdered him in this way would face the full extent of the law, that justice would be served throughout, and that you would use this terrible, terrible situation for your good and for the good of everybody. I pray that you also help to calm these terrible, terrible, terrible riots and are on the brink, frankly, of civil war, and that you would give people cooler heads, so that way not as many people would end up getting hurt or having their livelihoods be ruined. So in Jesus' name we pray, amen.